Welcome to the Influencers Journey Show. Once again, today's topic is social networking, 5 strategies to attract your divine client. And so, one of the things that I wanted to start off our conversation about this morning is why understanding your target audience is key. And so, one of the things where, like I said, we're unpacking social networking, and I love the idea and the fact that social networking gives you the opportunity to do this one thing and do it really well, and which is understand your target audience. So I know for most of us who have ever, if you're an entrepreneur, then you know you're a marketer. That's it, right? So, 80% of your time is spent marketing your business. And so if you've ever taken a course in marketing, one of the things that, people say all the time is that you need to know your demographics of your audience and you need to know the psychographics. Okay. So, your demographics, of course, you definitely need to know your demographics. You need to know whether your products or your services, your programs, whatever it is that you're doing out there, whether you serve a male audience, you serve females, you need to know what age range is your products and services good for. Okay. If you have location specific products and services, do you know where your ideal clients, your target audience, where they are located? So all of these things are data that we collect, as we do our marketing. Then we'll take it one step further, and then we get in to the psychographics of our ideal clients. Okay. And when we talk about the psychographics of our ideal client, we talk about things like their pain points. So, do we all know what our clients are struggling with? I like to term it that 2 a.m. problem, that thing that either keeps them up at night and they can't go to bed, or the thing that wakes them up in the middle of the night and disturb their sleep. So, in doing your market research, do you know what thing that is for your clients? Because once again, if you're able to understand what their pain points and what their challenges are, then of course you're able to create products and services that will solve that problem for your clients. But one of the things that I want to take it a little bit deeper, and go into moving from identifying what I term as your ideal clients and getting into your divine clients. And so there's a definition for your divine clients. And when I talk about divine clients, when Suzanne talks about divine clients, we mean those people that, we are connected with, on a heart to heart, soul to soul level. And I know some of you might be asking, what do you mean? How do you get a chance to connect with someone that you possibly, don't even know, you've never met? How do you connect with them on a heart to heart, soul to soul level? I like to call these people the people who we are divinely called to serve. And so when we take a look at social networking gives us the opportunity to have these conversations. And I like to call them connecting conversations where we're able to share more of ourselves. We're able to share, our stories. And with those stories, we're able to connect with the heart and soul of our clients. And that's the magnetic piece that gets people to raise their hand and say, wow, this is the person for me, because I can see myself in their journey. They have been where I am and they have come through on the other side, and now they have the ability to take me to where I want to go, or to guide me to where I want to go. And so one of the things, as I really started to unpack this conversation about social networking, it brought me to a concept that I now call relationship marketing. Okay. And so relationship marketing, when you take a look at it, this is actually your key and your biggest access to serving online. So can you get down and touch the heart and soul, of your people, your tribe members, and get those people who you are divinely called to serve raise their hand and say, you are the person for me. And so I know, and just let me know if you have, as we're going through our time together, if you have any questions about it, if anything that you want to share, just go ahead and make sure that you are utilizing the comment section, and I'll be able to answer your questions, on the comments. Okay. And so when it comes to social networking, this is actually a process that, as like I said, as entrepreneurs and marketers, that we need to build into our social media marketing. And so there's, a couple of keys, a couple of steps, things that you have to do in order to make this piece successful. And I'm going to tell you, long gone are the days of us just getting out there and just putting content out into the marketplace and figuring that, oh, okay, I did my job, I made a post, or I did the video, and that's it. So one of the things that I had to come to terms with being in this space is, oh my gosh, marketing is not about just putting content out there. We have to go back and we have to engage with our content. And once we are engaging with our content, we're engaging with the people who are responding and interacting to our content, then we create the opportunity to build better relationships online. Okay. So on my journey, some of the things that I had to learn how to do was to first be able to set clear goals for my social networking activities. Okay. And so when it comes to your social media, do you have, a strategy in place that would allow you, to effectively implement social networking? And if the answer is no, stick around with me until a little later in the show. I'm going to share with you some steps on how you could effectively do that. Okay. And so I had to, first of all, be able to build that into my strategy and then identify ways that I'm going to measure, if I'm successful at social networking. So what are my key metrics that I am looking for and that I desire around social networking? Okay. Also, in taking a look and implementing this process, like I said before, it gave me such a unique opportunity to really get to know and collect data, do some research on, my target audience. So one of the things, as we're out there and we're in the social media space, I talk about social listening. Like that's the first step in the social success cycle, social listening. And so as I'm out there and I am giving, my audience, my tribe members, the opportunity to learn more about what it is I do, I'm also learning more about them as well. And this is the secret sauce of being able to truly create, great products and services in the marketplace. So do what is it that your audience wants from you? And I say all the time, if we listen, if we create the opportunity, to put stuff out there and listen, and then we go back and we engage with it and then seek to reach out and build those relationships, this will give us a better idea of the things that we need to produce in the marketplace, whether it's your content or whether it's your programs and services, right? So this is a great opportunity for you to do research. And so if you're out there thinking that, all I have to do on social media is just show up and hit the like button and keep scrolling, and that takes care of my social media activities for the day, then I have to tell you, you're sadly mistaken. It's all about going in once again and showing up as a resource, showing up to serve, in those spaces and places that you are, and then giving yourself the opportunity to learn more about people, learn more about your audience, learn more about people in your network. Okay. And so the other thing is being able to monitor and analyze. So how are you tracking your process, through all of this? So like I mentioned before, do you have key metrics that you are looking for? Okay. And so one of the things as I take a look at social networking and building relationships and collaborations, one of my key metrics that, I had set for myself or have set for myself is how many appointments am I going to set, from my social media efforts. Okay. So how many conversations am I going to get into on a weekly basis because of my interactions, online? And that's a metric. And so I'm able to measure that process. I can measure, what activities I did, what type of activities I did, how many calls were am I able to schedule, and then how many calls did I fulfill, and then what were the results of those calls. Okay. And so that's a metric that you can measure. And so for you, start to think about what are the things that are important for you in your business and the things that you need to track, and then be intentional around those things. Okay. And so the next thing that, I started to explore and I started to look at as I started to look at social networking and how we can use social networking as a strategy and a tool to attract more of our divine clients. It's the thing that I think most entrepreneurs miss when it comes to social media. Okay. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I think entrepreneurs miss when it comes to social media is treating social media as just another channel for broadcasting your message and your promotions. And so, I say it all the time. Social media is, not just a place for you to show up and hawk your wares. So a lot of times I get into conversation with colleagues and even some clients who only want to show up on social media when they have, something going on in their business. So maybe it's a launch, maybe it's a product or service that they have, and then they go, oh, I remember social media, there's people on there, let me get on. And I have to say, social media doesn't really quite, work that way. It's not a one-way street. Okay. So this is a place for you to not just share your products and your promotions, but it's also a place, like I said, for you to get out there and you can network. Okay. You could, start to attract more of your divine clients, have connecting conversations, engage, and then once again, take people on that beautiful pathway of your buyer's journey. So that's one of the biggest things, being able to, not look at social media as a place for you to just push your message out, but how are you using it as a tool to build relationships? And like I said, how are you using it to serve? So do you have a strategy to show up and serve, through your social media? Then the other mistake that I see a lot of is missing the opportunity, to build community on social media. And so if you ask me, every entrepreneur, especially if you are a coach out there and you have some type of program or service that you offer, you should be building a community around your products and services. So, how many of you out there have an online community? So, if you have an online community, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on LinkedIn, or some other social media platform, go ahead, drop a comment and let me know I have a community. Now, why is it that I'm talking about having a community? One of the greatest opportunities I find with online communities, this is a way that you are able to engage in conversations in a deeper level with your tribe members. Okay. And you get the opportunity to learn more about your audience. Just as they're learning and connecting with you, you are learning and you're connecting with you. With them. And so you're able to now provide, a deeper level of serving. And so that's the opportunities that communities can afford to you. So we have our Storytelling for Super Achievers Network. And so we know the people who are in our community, those are the people who have seen our content, maybe on other places of Facebook. Maybe you've caught us on our business pages. Maybe you've seen our information or our content, on another social platform. And you've decided that, you know what, I really want to connect. I really want to learn more about who Taria and Suzanne, is. And so, you know what? They've joined our community. And in the community, they have the unique opportunity to share their insights. They have the opportunity to ask their questions. And for us, it's an opportunity for us to learn more about them. So, and being able to leverage all of that to create greater conversations, like we're doing here on the show, and then also as a way to enhance our products and services. So I just shared with you like one of the biggest opportunities that you have in front of you. If you don't have an online community, it's time for you to start to think about adding an online community to go along with your products and your services, or even your program. Everyone should have an online community. That's how I feel about it. Okay. And so, one of the other challenges that I see all the time is the struggle to create the type of content that your audience wants. I can't tell you how many times a week that I get this question. Okay, I get this question all the time. How do I know what type of content my audience wants? What do I create to put out there? And I've heard so many times people tell me, well, I don't know what the pain points of my divine clients. I don't know what those things are. And one of the things that I say all the time: first, start the conversation. And then as you start the conversation and you are actively networking and you're actively engaging with your audience, whether, it's on different parts of social media, maybe you're in your community, maybe you are in, another community, people will always tell you what it is that they want. People would always share with you what it is that they desire. Okay. So our responsibility and our job is to listen. And that's where the social listening comes in. And so we had a perfect example, of this recently. So I think I was doing the show by myself, and we had one of our super achievers, get on here and just started to ask some amazing questions. And so you guys, you feed us when we're on the show. So all of the questions that you ask, all of the wonderful insights that you give us in your comments that you share, we actually go back and take a look at the comments. We take a look at those questions, and then we start to say, wow, people really want to know more about this. So what can we create that will be able to serve? And so from that conversation, another beautiful conversation was able to be developed. And Susan and I, we were on the show last week, three, my island accent is jumping out, 3 strategies to identify your divine client. Okay. And then, which led to the topic of this show, social networking. Okay. So once again, is being able to collect the data, collect the insights. Okay. And I know that there's, tools that, you should be using online to help you take a look at the data, take a look at the insights. But there's some data that those tools can't measure, which is the actual conversations, the actual opportunity to build relationships. They can't see all of that stuff. So it's our responsibility to also track that type of data as well. Okay. All right. And so the third thing that I wanted to, just take a minute to spend some time to explore when it comes to the topic of using to social networking to social networking to attract your divine clients. I want to be able to talk about why the power, of authenticity and vulnerability is key. So this was one of the biggest challenges for me when I realized that I needed to make a shift in the way that I was doing my social media. So you see, I was that person who showed up on social media, to just give the information. So yes, I have a tool, I have a tip, I have a strategy. These things I'm willing to show up and serve my audience by sharing. But one of the things that I didn't realize was missing from my marketing was me. And so once I started to understand the power, of using stories to engage with my audience more, things started to shift in my business. And I started to attract more of my right fit clients, which I now call our divine clients. So if you're still out there, still a little shy, you're still wondering, oh my gosh, what should I share on social media? Or if you're feeling a little vulnerable when it comes to sharing, deeper content, okay, then you actually want to, take a look at this area and start to explore the opportunity of using more stories in your content. And I'm going to say this, I had the opportunity yesterday, just yesterday, this happened, um, to visit a store. I'm just gonna call it that. I'm not gonna reveal the name of the company. And actually, let me back up. Yesterday was not the first time that I visited the store. Yesterday was the second time I went back to the store. But I remember the first time I visited the store. The story that the owner of the store shared with me, which was actually the why he had the store, why the store came in to being in existence, his huge why for doing this was he shared that story. And one of the things that I remember saying, like, oh my gosh, that is such a huge, great, awesome, wonderful story. And I felt a connection, you know, um, to the story. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be back. And that was the thing that made me return to that store. Now, check this out. Is that store the only store on the island that sells what they're selling? The answer to the question is no. But because I had the opportunity to get into conversation with the owner of the store, and he was able to share, his experiences, he was able to be vulnerable in just like a 5 minutes conversation. I felt a connection and I knew that this is a store that I chose, I'm choosing to support me in my needs. Okay. And I'm telling everybody about it. I was literally so excited and I went back. So think about it, being able, to share those stories, give people the opportunity to get the glimpse, into why is it that you do what it is you do? That's your secret sauce. That's your connecting factor. So if once again, if you're out there and you're still saying, well, I only want to show up on social media, just to promote, or I only want to stick to the content because that used to be my thing. I only want to stick to the content. I don't want to share anything about me. I'm here to encourage you, to take a look at that in a different light.